What's up? It's Carson here with another Tech Talk video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we have a lot to talk about today because Apple has officially announced the date of their keynote, which is going to be held at the end of this month, October 27th. That's a Thursday, and they really didn't give us much information on the website to go by to understand like what this event's about, so I can give you my best estimate of what we're going to see, starting with MacBook Pro. MacBook Pros haven't seen an update in 4 years, so they're well overdue, and the first thing that I see, or really not see, being on this MacBook Pro are ports. The current MacBook Pro has an SDXC card slot port, an HDMI port, 2 USB ports, a 3.5mm headphone jack port, 2 Thunderbolt ports, and of course the MagSafe port for power. Whoa, time out right there. That is a lot of ports for Apple to have in a computer, especially nowadays. You know, last month they just had a keynote about how they're going to be courageous and move into the future and be wireless, right? So I really think that we're not going to see most of those ports in the next MacBook Pro. We're probably going to see USB-C across the board and 3.5mm headphone jack. Although they took it away from the iPhone 7, I think we're going to see it one more time with the MacBook Pro models that they will release this year. USB-C. If you've never heard of it, it's just another cable, but at the same time, it's not just another cable because it's the universal end-all be-all cable that could potentially replace all other electronic device cables out there, which is very exciting. Imagine having one cable that works for all your devices, and that's the future. It's a universal cable that works with everything. It's the successor to USB that we all know and loved and used for years. You know, USB comes in different types, and this connector is Type C. That's why it gets the name USB-C. And there's a lot of great things about the USB-C, and it really is the future of cables because it would replace everything. And I'll get to the reasons why it replaces everything in just a second, but that's why Apple is on board with adapting the USB-C to the MacBook Pro. You know, USB-C is in the early stages of taking over and standardizing the whole electronic industry. And it's just a great cable. Let's take a look at it. So this cable here, very small, compact, reversible, right? It also supports 100 watts of power, and it also does up to 10 gigabit speed data transfer, which is very impressive and comparable to Apple's Thunderbolt. That's awesome. Hey, and when I told you that you could use it for any device, I mean any device. Like let's say this USB microphone that I'm using right now. Yup. What about this desktop computer? Yup. What about this Apple router? Yup. What about my iPhone? It's small enough? Yup. What about my iPad? So I think you get the gist, guys. You can use USB-C for anything. Imagine having one cord that works for everything. You don't have to worry about, oh, my friend's Android and he has micro USB. No, everything can be USB-C. We're actually seeing USB in some smartphones right now. So Apple, what up? You really need to step up your game and just go universal with everybody else and quit being like all closed off from end to end. All right, simmer down, Carson, simmer down. Now let's really just talk about this MacBook Pro from an external standpoint. Once again, like I said, we're going to see less ports in this new MacBook Pro, probably a handful of USB-C ports and a headphone jack. That's all you're going to get. And also, you know, looking at the computer, you're going to notice that it's going to be a lot thinner and probably a lot lighter. And if you could just imagine opening it up, we're going to see a lot of other features as well. Apple's notorious for making things thinner, but also making the displays better. And I can assure you that we're going to see a much better display, really not from a pixelation standpoint, but from a color gamut standpoint. We're going to see a lot more color, and it's going to be very vivid. We might even be introduced to a True Tone display on your MacBook Pro, which is very nice. One other thing, totally new feature, and it's, you know, all over the web, people are talking about it, but they are going to reinvent the keyboard. You know, they're going to have this new sleek design with the butterfly key buttons, but we're also going to see the removal of this entire function row, and they're going to replace it with an OLED bar. And this OLED bar is great, but Apple wasn't the first computer company to do something like this. Other companies have done it, but I feel like other companies have failed in doing so. I think Apple can take it for a different spin and take it down a different road and maybe have a very different outcome than these other companies. And before I could even talk about how they could do it different, you need to understand what it does. So Apple is removing this whole function key row. And if you think about it, how often do you use the function keys? Not very often, and when you do, you use it for one specific purpose. Each button has one purpose, right? As opposed to this function key that has multi-purposes. It can change depending on the application that you're using. And each third-party developer app can have a custom experience made just for that app. So when you open up, for example, the Spotify app, you can see that you're in Spotify by the logo on the left of the OLED bar. You can see some different controls, and I'm sure this OLED bar is something that developers can change depending on their application and the user to make a great experience between the two. And this is the reason Apple's actually making use of that empty space that we hardly ever use, and at the same time, they're giving third-party developers and themselves more opportunities to engage with the user and help them get stuff done within applications. It's awesome. And we may see a fingerprint ID sensor somewhere on the new MacBook Pro housing, but that's really all that I know about when it comes to the X tier. So I want to dig a little deeper. Let's talk about what's under the hood of this new MacBook Pro. I'm hoping that we see Intel's latest and greatest family member, Kaby Lake. I'm not sure what it's called, but it's their latest processor. It's the successor to Skylake, and I'm hoping that we don't see Skylake, but I feel like that's the biggest probability is us seeing Skylake, which is Intel's, predecessor in the processing world. But, Apple takes a little while adapting new tech, and, it works out for the better most of the time because, people like Samsung, they jump the gun and have, the gun exploding on them, if you know what I mean. But with whatever Intel family member Apple decides to go with, either way, we're going to get better processing, and better processing means better battery life. And also, Apple's found a way with this new layered battery idea that they can get more battery, maximum battery, into these new MacBook Pros. So hopefully we see something similar there so we can get as much battery life as possible. And as far as GPUs go, we're probably going to see some of AMD's latest and greatest, probably using the Polaris architecture. And I'm really excited about that as well. We have a powerhouse Mac coming our way. Now, if I were a gambling man, I would probably put all my money on the MacBook Pro at this October 27th event. But past that, I really don't know. Apple didn't give us much information, but I'm really thinking that we're going to see a lot of displays. The feature on their homepage has this cool looking apple with like color bursting out of it, and I feel like that's saying we're going to see some displays, y'all. I feel like we're going to see, this new MacBook Pro with an awesome display. I feel like we're going to see a new 5K display with built-in GPU. I feel like we might see the iMac models refreshed with a better display. All great displays across the board. But that's what I expect to see. Really, past that, they would be surprising me with any other hardware. But I feel like it's all about displays and new hardware for the MacBook Pro. Okay, so do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think anything I say is going to actually be at this keynote? And I also want to hear about your predictions. You can let me know all that in the comments below. And also, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. And before I go, I wanted to give away a free pair of Gunner glasses to one of my viewers who entered in my contest. All you had to do was tag me and talk about my show, which you did, and I appreciate it. And I'm about to draw. Actually, I'm doing this shuffle thing. There's this shuffle app in the App Store. Put everybody's username in there, so all I have to do is hit shuffle, and the winner is K.Mildred. Oh, that's Kayla Williams. What's up, Kayla Williams? Thanks for entering the contest and supporting my show. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy these Gunner glasses. They're awesome. If you want to know more about Gunner glasses, I have a totally separate video that you can check out, and I will see y'all next time. Also, if you were wondering what this shirt was all about, Google it, and I'm going to be talking about it next week. Guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.